Hey, this is Abe.
And this is Alexa.
Welcome back to the Get Out and Enjoy Life podcast, or GOEL.
Today we're talking about our trip from Positano to Venice.
So in our previous episode, we talked about that we were going to take the ferry, and we actually bought the ferry tickets on the day that we got into Positano just to make sure they didn't sell out. And there were quite a few people on the ferry when we got on. But our stay in Positano was actually called Briquette Hostel.
Hostel Briquette.
Or Hostel Briquette.
Which was really great.
It was great, yeah. So, and the people there, the hostesses, the people that took care of the front desk area, we talked with one of them, and they actually were, it sounded like they lived in Spain and they just came over to Positano
for the summer to work.
Like as a summer job.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she was in college or why she was specifically working there.
Yeah, but it's super neat. So they actually recommended that we hire a porter just because we were so high up on the cliff side there, a porter to take down our luggage.
Yeah, so it was really nice. You just contacted the porters. There's a couple different companies basically in Positano. And you say, hey, I'm at Hostel Briquette or wherever you are, and you say your name, and you have to pay 15 euros per bag that you have them kind of bring down to the ferry. So we had our suitcases, and we just decided to hold on to our backpacks, since we could easily take those down ourselves. And it was pretty simple. So they came around, I think, 8 a.m.
We had to call them or message them 2 hours prior. So we got up pretty early that morning, probably around like 6:30-ish.
Just to make sure everything was packed and we had everything that we needed to take with us.
Yeah. So we handed our luggage over. They actually carried them down. We had pretty steep stairs there as well. They just ended up flinging our 50-pound luggages onto their shoulders. And just carried it down like that. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. Instead of trying to carry it by the handle and,
Still, those are heavy.
And it's steep stairs. They're not it's a steep grade.
Yeah.
So they took our luggage, and then we headed on the way down. Unfortunately, it was kind of wet on the side of the road when we were coming down.
Yeah, there's a little, maybe a block or so away, if you could even say it's a block. And it's near this drinking fountain that we had been filling up our waters at, and I fell down, kind of busted my knee open slightly. I had a big
You got a little abrasion, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a small cut. It was bleeding.
Yeah. So we had the first aid kit. We got that cleaned up. But also, there was a lady that was
she helped me up.
Yeah, she came over and helped you up as I was coming to help you as well. So, she got her arm under your arm and helped you get up, and then she walked away. Didn't even say anything.
Yep, she just looked at me.
Yeah, she's okay.
Just made sure it was okay, and then walked away. Yeah.
And then we ended up making our way the rest of the way down uneventfully, and got down to the ferry, got our cappuccinos down there just because we had to wait a little bit. But there wasn't really... It was hard to figure out which ferry we were supposed to get on. We knew the name of the company ship, the name of the company, but
and the time it was coming.
So we figured that out, and then
there were no signs.
No,
and there were signs, but they had two lines forming.
That's right, yeah.
And one side did not have a sign at all. One side did have a sign, but it said Amalfi and Salerno.
And then one said, line 1 or something, line 2. But
yeah.
And so we were, looking at our tickets for the ferry, and we're like, oh, maybe it's kind of like an airlines ticket where they do seat you by, class, A, B, C, or D. But, no, it wasn't like that at all.
And then I noticed at the place that we actually bought the tickets, there was a sign that had said something like Capri, Naples, Sorrento, almost like it was going to take 3 stops. And when we started talking to people in the line, some people were going to Naples with their luggage, some people were going to Capri, and then
some people were going to Sorrento too, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And they were just we were told to line up over here. So everybody just kind of got in one of the lines. The ferry came, and we all got onto the boat.
That's a big ferry, too.
Yeah.
And then we just put our luggage off to the side. We double checked when we got on because they were carrying our tickets. And I'm like, going to Naples? And he's like, yep, we're going. He said, sure, or something like that.
Yeah.
So we got on, ended up getting, there wasn't enough. It was a big ferry, but there weren't enough seats for everyone.
Yeah. To like sit together.
To sit together, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So we ended up sitting on opposite sides of the boat on the top of the boat. And it was really nice, actually, outside.
It was really nice. It was refreshing.
The windows were open.
Yeah. So we were basically sitting outside with a cover over us.
Yeah. And then we got to Capri, and by that time, some people had filed off the boat.
Quite a few people had gone off the boat.
And so I came over and sat next to Alexa, and then there's another couple sitting in front of us, and we're all kind of just sitting there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we'd probably been there for 5 to 7-ish minutes or somewhere around there. And
then somebody who works on the boat came up and he was like, if you're going to Naples, you need to go to Dock 21. And let me tell you, Dock 21 was not next to where we were.
No.
So we all are like rushing off the ferry. We didn't even know that we had to switch to another ferry. This one was huge.
Way bigger than our previous ferry.
Probably to take everybody to Naples and all their luggage and everything. And so we're getting off the boat, we're grabbing our luggage. They had already unloaded our luggage, I think, off of the ferry, right?
That was on the previous ferry.
Oh, that was on a different one. But anyways, we had to run off, get to area 21, so we could get on the next ferry, which would take us straight to Naples.
Yeah, and when everyone's waiting in line there, and we get to the ferry, and then the ferry leaves. Yeah. And there's a long line. And I'm like, Anyway, we waited there probably for another 10, 15 minutes, and another ferry shows up.
Finally.
It's another very large ferry.
Yes.
And we were waiting in line. We ended up chatting with the couple that was actually sitting in front of us on the previous ferry, and they're like, oh, yeah, we're from New York.
Yeah, and so we chatted with them a little bit.
And then there's, we like to people watch, so there was like another couple off to the side. They weren't even in line.
No.
Yeah. And
they were sporting some, a lot of designer items. Their Louis Vuitton luggage, her Louis bag, his Louis Vuitton shoes. It was just decked out in designer everything.
I mean, I don't even know
Abe doesn't know brands like that.
At all. I'm like, wow, they got a lot of brands there.
They definitely did not want to get in the back of the line.
Nope.
So what they did was, as we're all going on, he just picked up that luggage and he scooted all the way to the front and got onto the boat.
Pushed his way in.
No one stopped them or anything.
I mean, at that point,
it's fine.
We're all going to the same place.
We all got a seat.
Yeah.
Everybody got off at
There
Naples.
was more than enough seats.
So.
Actually, everyone sat towards the back of the boat. There's no seats in the back of the boat because that's where you load from.
Yeah.
And then in the front of the boat, it was completely empty.
Yeah, there was so much space where we were.
There were probably at least 50 to 70 seats up there that were empty. And these seats were really nice. I mean, they were like almost like airliner.
They were super nice. They were like leather and like had a little armrest type thing on the sides. And
the boat was air conditioning, thank goodness.
Yes.
It was pretty hot out. I had actually decided not to put on any sunscreen at the beginning of the day because I was like, we're going to be in the boats. It's just going to be, a 2-hour boat ride over.
And we're going to be on the plane.
And then we'll catch the bus. We thought, we would just be catch the ferry, catch it over to Naples, and be done. And then take the bus and be on the flight.
Or even maybe walk. We didn't really know what it was like.
So we ended up making it to Naples, and they unloaded that's where they unloaded our luggage.
Oh, okay. I was fixing them up.
And we figured out where to catch a bus.
Yeah. They had a bus, and online it said, it could be between 1 and 5 euros to get on this bus. So from where we got on the bus, it was 5 euros to get on. A person.
Yeah.
About 5 euros a person. And we actually ended up stopping at the Naples train station on the way, where they were charged 3 euros per person.
Maybe it was because it was closer, but
that's what I'm thinking.
Not sure. And then we made it over to the airport, checked our baggage, had to wait a little bit there for an attendant to come and get us checked in. And then we ended up getting like an amazing meal actually at the airport.
It was so good.
It was great. I don't know if it was because we were so hungry or what, but
It
And
was like, it felt almost like fine dining type food, like this amazing.
But we ate sandwiches.
We ate sandwiches, and they gave us little chips.
Yeah.
But
in a little bowl.
It was like so well done. Like the food was so fresh. We got like a caprese salad,
which is just tomatoes
so
basically cut up into slices and a little arugula in the middle,
and like with mozzarella cheese.
Ball.
Yeah,
really.
Ball.
And it was only like €10, which like back in the United States, it's like the mozzarella ball would be like probably $10.
Yeah.
So you ended up getting what type of sandwich?
I got a salmon bagel, which was so good.
The bagel was big.
The bagel was good. Like I haven't had a bagel like that. It's very like bread. It wasn't like the same, tasting bagels we have at home.
No.
And it had like sesame seeds on it. It was very good.
I forget what I got actually. It was it was good.
Oh, you got a vegan sandwich.
Oh, that's
like
right.
Tofu
Yeah, and they had
sandwich.
tofu, and it was artichoke spread in it.
It was good.
Amazing. The bread was amazing as well. Mm-hmm. They must bake the bread there, I would guess. I don't know. Maybe
so.
I don't know if they do that in an airport actually.
I
see it, but it was. So we ended up making our way over to the terminal, and they had a cappuccino or like coffee machine there where you could see inside, and it ground the coffee for you. That was neat.
Pretty cool.
And I was
one thing I noticed that was really interesting to me. Like when we're at the airport at home, we have you go to your gate, and there's a bunch of seating everywhere, and there's places to charge your phone, and so everybody's just sitting there before the flight. Here, they have no seating area, barely.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, people were sitting on the floor. People were standing. Like, there's barely any chairs. And so we kind of just had to stand there for a bit and wait until, we were ready to get on the plane.
Yeah. That actually cappuccino machine, I think that was in Rome, actually. I got it mixed up. But in the airport there.
Oh, but there was one in the Naples airport that you were looking at. I don't know if you got a coffee, though.
And so we're at a terminal. There wasn't actually like, I don't know what you call them, but they're like the ramps that you walk down into the airplane that connects to the airplane. So we're at ground level.
Is that the tarmac?
The tarmac, I think, is what actually the airplanes drive on. Like,
but
that's
we had to
area.
go out.
We had to go out onto
there.
the tarmac. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had to catch a bus.
Mm-hmm.
The
bus was actually second.
No, the bus was second. So we actually walked. They closed off part of the tarmac.
Yep.
Like pulled a tape across, and then we just walked over to the plane.
Yeah.
And it was like a full. It wasn't that small of a plane. It was. It had 2 seats. It had 2 rows on each side and 2 seats.
I really liked where we sat. We sat on row 4, which is right behind first class. And I feel like it's so easy to get off the plane, from there. Yeah. Whereas on the second flight, go ahead.
And on that flight, we were pretty tired. I think we both fell asleep right before the plane even took off, actually.
Yeah. We were just exhausted. When I tell you there were so many stairs at Positano, you might have, heard from our last episode. It just really took it out of us.
So, got over into Rome, and Italy, they smoke a lot here. We haven't seen that many vape pens. We see them here and there. Yeah. Again, I don't know. And then also, like, the vape pens might be being used more by, like, tourists, because we've been in a lot of tourist areas. But in the airport, they actually had smoking areas, which
designated ones.
Right. It's really fascinating because you see these we don't have this in the United States, right? Of course. So they had these boxes, like these glass boxes, and they had big like air ducts coming up from each side of the box, and then you would wave your hand and you would walk in there, and then you could light your cigarette. And even in like the stores in the airport, you could buy lighters, which I don't think you can even do that in the United States. Right?
I've never seen it. I don't know.
I was really surprised by that. So I was kind of questioned, like, when we go back to the United States, are we going to have to go back through like a security, almost like TSA checkpoint? Because I don't know.
I feel like we'll have to go and declare any items.
We're gonna have to do that for sure
about stuff, but I'm
not
sure. I don't remember from the last time I've
So we'll keep you updated on that. So we got on that flight and caught it over to Venice.
Well, actually, so we flew from Naples to Rome.
Yeah.
And then from Rome is when we had to take the bus to the plane.
Right.
Which we didn't talk about.
That's
so
right.
the first time we had to walk out to the plane,
Yeah.
walk up some steps. This time, they put us all on a big, wide, very wide bus.
It's really wide. It's not like a city bus. And it's really low to the ground, almost like you couldn't even see the wheels, actually.
Yeah. And so then they bussed us out to where our plane was, and we got on. And actually, what I've never done at home is actually get on through the back of the plane. So they had 2 stairs going up to the front and the back. So if you were sitting towards the back, which we were, it was easier for us to get on behind
I've
rather than
done
go
that
through
before,
the front.
but I'm not sure where I've done it.
I haven't done it at home, so I don't know.
So,
but we were
in like
nice.
seats 25 or
something like
that. And then we sat on the plane for a while, and then they finally said, "Oh, the plane's actually there's something wrong with one of the latches, so we had to get that fixed." There is this flight attendant on there. I mean, she looked like one of my instructors from college, where like you did not mess with her. She would follow like all the rules, and as long as you followed the rules, you were totally fine. But we had our headphones on and just, waiting for everything. And she's like, take off your headphones so you can watch the safety thing.
I've never had a flight attendant do that.
Yeah.
They usually do not care.
Right.
They're like, if you listen, you listen.
I mean, safety is important by all means. But, so I made sure every time she spoke, I was taking off my headphones and looking at her. But
even Abe wanted to go to the bathroom at one point, and we were about to get up, and then the seatbelt sign came on. He's like, "Nope, I'm not even messing with her."
No. They have a hard job, so
and they were serving drinks and things
they
at that
were
point. They had the carts going through the aisle.
Down, so, and then we got over to Venice, and I don't know. I was just so worn out by the day, and I hadn't slept a whole bunch. Honestly, I started losing my patience with the whole thing, and Alexa's like, "No, we don't want to walk," and I'm like, "Yeah, I want to walk. It's only 15 minutes."
Yeah. So basically, our hotel sent us quite a few of them have. They sent us an email saying here's a PDF of how to get to us from the airport, or if you take the train, here's how to get to us, or whichever way you came.
They gave us a whole bunch of different options.
There was options. And they also gave us some events and things that were happening in Venice while we were staying here, which was really nice to have all that information. I have been to Venice before. I didn't remember all the different steps that were here on the bridges, but I knew that I really didn't want to walk to our place we were staying at, because I feel like our suitcase, it's just been a struggle to get suitcases places. Also, we've had wheels pop off, we've had wheels ripping, we've had all kinds of things happening.
My wheel it started falling apart, the actual rubber piece that goes around the actual wheel, and it started falling apart in Positano, so there's not a lot of resources there, so I got some super glue and glued the thing back down with super glue, and then kind of coated it in the super glue.
Which was smart to do.
That's all we had, and actually it's held up so far until we got here. So.
Because there was also, not from what I saw, places to buy suitcases if you needed a new suitcase.
So,
but anyways, so it was my preference that once we got off the plane and we took the bus to where we needed to go, that we took the water bus or some kind of water taxi something. The water taxi ended up being really expensive, so that didn't make sense to do a private water taxi.
It was 150 euros.
It was something crazy.
140 euros.
Over 100, yeah.
For a 15-minute or something, 7-minute, I don't know, drive.
And so we got off, and Abe was insisting that we walk, and I was like, let me just go ask about the water bus, and he's like, okay, you figure out, what we should do next. And so I asked a few people. I asked our bus driver, I was like, where do I buy the tickets? He directed me, so I'm like, come on, Abe. And so I went there and I asked the lady, and she's like, it's not really worth it to go 2 stops to pay 10 euros per person or whatever, $9.50.
So you decided to walk at that point. Yeah. And you kept saying, the bridge is the bridge. I'm like,
we have to
it's
go
a
over
bridge.
all these bridges.
I'm thinking it's a bridge. I can pull a suitcase up a flat ramp over a bridge. Well, the bridges here are not, they're not ramps. They're stairs.
Stairs.
They're stairs. Every single bridge is stairs, which it makes sense just because the bridges are pretty steep. They're really big. So in order to prevent probably people from slipping when it rains or whatnot, there's stairs regardless. Pulling a 50-pound suitcase up these stairs,
it's hard.
And it's not one bridge. We had to go over probably
multiple.
like 4 of them or whatever, and then it's cobblestone, so then your suitcases just don't roll over cobblestone well.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
And we've been keeping an eye, I've been keeping an eye out because I'm like, how are people doing this with their suitcases? Because their wheels have to be falling apart.
Right.
And we've been actually in the airport, we saw pieces of wheels kind of swept over to the corner. Along the stairs of these bridges, we've seen pieces of wheels.
Yep.
So, honestly, I had a little bit of a breakdown and ended up just dragging my suitcase across the stairs. Alexa said I looked a little crazy.
I mean,
you know,
it was a little wild.
It was a little much. And so we ended up getting our suitcases to our hostel, and I was like, "This is, or what is it? It's an Airbnb,
a bed and breakfast.
Yeah, bed and breakfast. We got it there,
Which you didn't realize.
Yeah, and lady's like, "Yep, the keys are in the envelope in the front." We got in through the door. She gave us the code. The code worked. We got
because at where we're staying, I mean, the reception is only open till 2:30.
Right.
So after that, they're not here unless you have like an emergency or something.
Right.
So that's why the keys were there for us.
Right. Which makes sense. And we get into the...
and can I preface before you say anything? We have been looking forward to this specific stay. This is our nicest stay in Italy.
One of the
most
expensive
It's the
stays.
most expensive stay. Specifically why we were excited about this is because we get this gorgeous balcony. It's a suite, and the balcony...
It's a junior suite.
Yeah, it's this junior suite. It has these beautiful, like, ceilings with wood and, like, what do you call this?
It's almost like open rafter ceilings where you can see the brick. I think it's brick, actually.
It's brick,
we're looking at it right now, and you can see, like, the mortar. It's all different colors of brick, and then you have the big, like, wooden beams that look like they've been stained with, like, almost like dark chestnut.
Yeah. And it's bigger than the other
huge.
ones.
It's got a bed, like queen size bed, its own separate bathroom with a shower and tile.
And then the balcony, it literally overlooks the rooftops of like Venice.
Right. And then we also have a couch in here and another chair.
Like a whole living room, basically.
And then we also paid a little extra to have some flowers here when we got here.
Prosecco.
And you wanted Prosecco, so we got a bottle of Prosecco, which we actually haven't even drank yet.
Yeah.
It's in our fridge.
Maybe later.
Yeah, so we get into, like I said, into the bed and breakfast, with the code worked, we grabbed our envelope, and there's like more stairs. It wasn't that many, it was maybe like 10, so we get it up there, and then there's way more stairs. There's something like, I don't know, 30?
Yeah, and we actually had like a letter that gave us information, like, you're on the 3rd floor, this is the name of your room.
And we knew that, and it was just hard getting all the luggage up, and it was at the end of the day.
We left Positano at 9:15 a.m.
Yeah.
And we got here at basically 8 p.m.
Yeah, so it had been a long
the bed
day.
and breakfast.
So we get all of our luggage up to this 3rd floor, and Elix is like messing around with the door to get the
I'm trying to turn the key in the lock, and it's just not budging. And I'm like, maybe I put it in the wrong way, so I put it in the other way, and it goes in.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the thing is, the handle is turning, but I'm like, Abe, I cannot push this door open.
Yeah,
and Abe's like, let me try.
And because I thought I could do better for whatever reason, which doesn't make sense. Anyway, it didn't work. And so Alexa calls the emergency line number.
Yeah. And so I call, and then I'm talking to the hostess, or whoever she is, I don't know at this point. And I'm like, hi, like, we're checking in, this is what the name is under, and we just got in, we cannot open the door to the room. She's like, I left it open for you. I left it unlocked. And I'm like, it's not. And I literally cannot turn the key in the door to open the door. I'm trying. She's like, oh, but I left it open. I'm like, I can't open the door. Can you please come and help us? And she's like, okay, I'm on my way. I have no idea where
Which
she was
is great
coming
because
from.
at 8:00 at night, I mean, it's great that she was able to come over. And,
Yeah, I really appreciate that she was.
So she
willing
gets
to do
here and she opens the door. I'm like, what?
Yeah, how did you
it's
open the door?
I handed her the keys and she opens the door. I'm like, wow, okay. And we walk into the room and there's a suitcase out and
shoes
and stuff. And I'm like,
yeah.
She was horrified.
She was horrified. She was like, "Oh my god, we gave them the wrong key."
Or it was someone else.
Or somebody.
I think she works with.
Yeah, somebody else.
She's like, this isn't my fault, but it is my fault. And I'm like, I felt really bad for her.
I did too. And she was like insisting that she carry our luggage back down so that we could get a new. She gave us a different room.
The other people's room.
The other people's room who were staying in our room. So luckily, that was available to us.
Yeah, but she was super insistent on carrying this luggage down.
Yeah,
and it's like
it's heavy.
She is a
she's
she was
petite and cute.
she's a smaller person. The one thing about being in Italy is the people have they've been very nice, actually. They've never been rude.
Yeah.
Even though I've read online, they've read things about people have been being rude, tourists in Italy. No one's been rude to us.
They're just really honest and blunt.
Yeah, very blunt and there's no
extras.
No, and they're proud, which is, that's a great thing to be, but when they say something or they want to do something, they are going to do it.
Or if they want to help you with something,
right,
then they will.
One of the things we've kind of been struggling with, or I've been struggling with here in Italy, is stacking my plates because I try to help the server out.
That's what we do at home.
Right.
It's our usual.
After we're done eating, we try to consolidate everything on the table just so, they don't have to reach far back on the table and they can put it towards the edge where they can grab it.
And at home,
right,
the waiters are really,
thankful
happy
for it, I think.
about that.
Yeah.
And here we get some weird looks. People ask us where we're from because we're stacked. I remember in Rome, this lady asked you where you're from because we're helping her.
Oh man, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So our hostess
really wanted to help us bring our bags
down.
So
we ended up getting our bags down. She let us carry them, which.
No, she carried.
Oh, I carried mine.
Part of one of mine
and
because
she took my backpack.
She literally was grabbing my suitcase, and I was like, "I got it,"
But so we got into the room, and we're like, "We'll just talk about it in the morning and figure it out." She's like, "Yeah, we'll get it figured out in the morning."
Yeah.
So, So we're gonna leave you with that. We did eventually get into our hotel room the next morning. We'll talk about that in our next episode.
Yeah.
It's very fun in Venice. The whole trip's been relaxing.
It's been fun. There've been little bumps, but we've gotten over them, and that's part of travel.
And we've been spending 24/7 together, and I don't think a lot of couples have that opportunity, which is really nice. But it does come with we do need our alone time sometimes.
Yes,
we need to respect each other's space, which that actually comes on me trying to. I think I need to work on that a little bit more. Here's your time for yourself.
Or if we have different interests, we try to make sure we each get to do what we want on the trip as well.
It's Alexa's more low key. I'm more high strung, I think, and sometimes
I'm high strung when it comes to the traveling to the new place.
And I'm not, but then I'm I want to do everything, never sleep.
And I get exhausted and I need to recharge.
I get exhausted too. I just
you just keep going.
So it's a good, defining that balance. But so we're spending 3 days in Venice. Yeah, about 3 days.
From a Wednesday to a Sunday.
And then just to kind of let you know, the other stays that we've done, we did in Rome. We did Rome Hello in Sorrento. I forget the name of it.
Sorrento,
actually.
we did.
We'll have to look. We can put it in the comments.
I'm blanking.
But it was a beautiful bed and breakfast. And then Positano we did.
Casa Astorita.
That's it.
Which actually is recommended by Rick Steves.
Yeah, and I think it's on the one of the travel websites.
Yeah, they're ranked very highly, so we would recommend them.
All the places we've stayed at. Even this place with the mess up, it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's a great place.
And then we did Hostel Briquette. So and then we'll let you know what place we're staying at.
Once we leave.
Yeah, once we leave. We just don't say it while we're
For
here.
safety.
And we'll see you on the next episode.
Okay. And don't forget to get out and enjoy life on your own terms, whether that is walking around your neighborhood, getting out and looking at different sites around you, spending time with friends, traveling, whatever it means to you. You should also do that. It's a beautiful way to enjoy life, and we hope, you're able to continue joining us on this podcast.
And we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.